Nobody knows if North Korea's Kim Jong-un has seen Donald Trump's latest tweet. North Korea just stated that it is in the final stages of developing a nuclear weapon capable of reaching parts of the U.S. It won't happen. And nobody knows how North Korea's erratic leader will now react.
This particular tweet is, in essence, telling the North Koreans, putting them on notice that they are going to be watched very carefully by the incoming administration and that they don't have carte blanche.
This after Kim said,
Cutting-edge arms equipment is actively progressing, and intercontinental ballistic missile test launch preparation is in its last stage.
it's not clear how soon Kim can be ready to launch a missile that could reach the U.S., but the prospect raises alarm. If a nuclear weapon exploded over a West Coast population center like Los Angeles or San Francisco, tens of thousands could be killed. Even a non-nuclear North Korean attack into South Korea could also kill tens of thousands, including 30,000 U.S. troops based there. Trump on the campaign trail was open to talking to Kim.
I wouldn't go there, that I can tell you. If he came here, I'd accept him, but I wouldn't give him a state dinner.
Now, Trump wants to pressure China to get Kim to roll back his nuclear program. China has been taking out massive amounts of money and wealth from the U.S. in totally one-sided trade, but it won't help with North Korea. Nice. But that message already largely brushed aside by Beijing.
We hope to see all sides avoid remarks and actions that would escalate tensions.
The Obama administration doesn't think North Korea can threaten the U.S. with a nuclear missile yet.
We do not believe that he, at this point in time, has the capability to tip one of these with a nuclear warhead.
The current U.S. military response focuses on defending against an attack, with interceptors in Alaska and California and ships in the Western Pacific. But in the face of a sudden imminent threat, U.S. officials tell CNN President Trump could activate existing plans for preemptive attacks, so-called no-mercy strikes to destroy the regime and its weapons. A former defense secretary who called for a preemptive strike in 2006 now says it must not happen.
A preemptive strike could bring about complete and total catastrophe to South Korea and to Japan. So that is not an option.
This was not draining the swamp. On the very first day of the new Congress, Republicans in the House were set to pass a proposal to gut the Office of Congressional Ethics, the independent watchdog that investigates allegations of wrongdoing on Capitol Hill. The plan, which would have placed ethics probes under the control of lawmakers, was yanked. Republicans suddenly reversed course after an outcry from Democrats and public watchdogs. Not to mention pressure from President-elect Donald Trump, who tweeted, "Bad idea." With all that Congress has to work on, Trump tweeted, do they really have to make the weakening of the independent ethics watchdog, as unfair as it may be, their #1 act and priority? Trump's tweets seemed to undercut one of his top advisors, Kellyanne Conway, who cautioned she hadn't discussed the matter with the president-elect, but sounded warm to the proposal.
Many of these people, members and their staffers who have been under investigation, have complained about their due process rights being violated and being compromised.
But Democrats were already pouncing.
You know, they said they were going to drain the swamp. They've just, they're distributing free swimming passes in the swamp by this change in the regulations.
Trump is also going against much of his party on trade, again threatening high tariffs on U.S. companies that ship jobs to other countries. Today's target, auto giant GM. Trump tweeted, General Motors is sending Mexican-made model of Chevy Cruze to U.S. car dealers tax-free across border. Make in USA or pay big border tax.
He doesn't want companies in the United States to be able to go leave this country and then sell back to the U.S., leaving the American worker behind.
Problem is, GM says Trump is wrong, adding in a statement, all Chevrolet Cruze sedans sold in the U.S. are built in GM's assembly plant in Lordstown, Ohio. GM builds the Chevrolet Cruze hatchback for global markets in Mexico, with a small number sold in the U.S. But A's argue they're getting results, pointing to Ford's decision to scrap plans to build a new plant in Mexico after candidate Trump warned of consequences.
We'll be calling the executives at Ford or whatever company is, and we'll tell them very nicely that if they want to move their factory or their plant, to another country, they will have to pay a 35% tax when they sell their cars or their product back into the United States.
Still, Trump and the GOP are on the same page when it comes to opposing President Obama's plans to pare down the number of detainees at Guantanamo, with the president-elect tweeting there should be no further releases from Gitmo. These are extremely dangerous people and should not be allowed back onto the battlefield. The White House snapped back Trump's tweet will have no impact on the current administration's plans.
No, it will not. He'll have an opportunity to implement the policy that he believes is most effective when he takes office on January 20th.
So would I hold my hand up like that? Yeah, you look at her right there. Okay. All right? This is two. Is my hand ready? Do you want to put your hand down? Okay. You're going to sneeze? Is that it? Yeah. All right. Be sneezing. Closer, closer. Okay, Paul, thank you.
Awesome, Roger. Take care of it.
Yes, sir.
I'm Paul. Nice to see you. Yeah, don't worry about it. Nice to meet you too, man. Happy New Year, guys.
It'd be nice if we got along. We don't, but it would be nice.
Donald Trump, then a candidate hoping for warmer ties with Vladimir Putin. Now it appears his wish is coming true.
He is a brilliant and talented person without a doubt.
As President Obama all but accuses Vladimir Putin himself of election-related hacking in the U.S., Trump is finding an admirer in Putin.
Putin was very excited about Trump's election. I think he even had a brief moment of euphoria.
Gleb Pavlovsky was a top Putin advisor for more than 10 years, till he says he was dismissed in 2011 for opposing Putin's controversial third term in office. He says Putin has high expectations for Donald Trump.
Putin is expecting an acceptance of Russia's agenda from the new President Trump.
That could include less criticism of Russia's controversial intervention in Syria, and more importantly, a possible easing of sanctions imposed by the U.S. and Europe over the crisis in Ukraine. The Russian president even seeing a reflection of himself in Donald Trump, Pavlovsky says.
He just likes a strong man, a winner in a situation when no one believed in his victory, because that's how it had been with Putin himself.
Since his election, Trump has been careful not to criticize Russia or its leader, while blasting China for what he calls one-sided trade relations with the U.S. and a lack of support pressuring North Korea on its nuke program. That China bashing even helps Putin, Pavlovsky says.
We don't want to find ourselves in one bed with China, and Trump could help us find a middle way.
Both Putin and Trump have a way of playing to the cameras, Trump with his reality TV career, Putin with photos like these, showing him braving the outdoors, wrestling tigers, and riding shirtless on a horse.
Putin's character, style, habits are those of a middle-class bourgeois. He is prone to comfort. He absolutely didn't want to be the man who works 10 to 20 hours a day.
Today, President Obama and Vice President-elect Mike Pence heading to Capitol Hill. It's an effort, aides say, to prepare their parties for the looming battle over Obamacare.
The Senate will come to order.
The high-profile visits coming as a group of conservative lawmakers are set to unveil the first concrete plan to replace Obama's signature achievement. This coming just a day after Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell filed a proposal to start the process of repealing the law. McConnell wasting zero time, his proposal coming within hours of the ceremonial swearing-in of the new Congress.
Congratulations.
The new session getting off to a rocky start. House Republicans forced to back down from a proposal to gut an independent ethics committee after major backlash from Democrats and some members of their own party. including a scolding from the president-elect himself on Twitter, tweeting, "With all that Congress has to work on, do they really have to make the weakening of the independent ethics watchdog, as unfair as it may be, their #1 act and priority? Focus on tax reform, health care, and so many other things of far greater importance." House Speaker Paul Ryan challenging the new Congress, led once again by Republicans, to make things happen when Trump takes office.
The people have given us unified government. And it wasn't because they were feeling generous. It was because they want results. How could we live with ourselves if we let them down?
As Chinese inspectors visited this large battery factory in Henan province, they were immediately hit with the strong smell of sour smoke.
The entire plant has problems. It is organized below national standards. We suggest that the city government shut it down.
The factory is only one of over 500 local enterprises that national inspectors say violated emergency restrictions during China's latest severe smog alert. Outdated pollution treatment facilities and a general disregard for regulations are a major cause of environmental degradation. Experts say an unusually warm December is also a big factor in this year's winter haze.
The lack of airflow and warmer than usual temperatures have prevented air pollution from dispersing. It is accumulating each day.
70% of the air pollution in China's Beijing, Tianjin, Hebei region is created by locally run businesses. The emission of toxic substances in the area is considerably higher than the national average. The levels of dangerous PM2.5 particles in the region have decreased, but smog remains at hazardous levels and is expected to continue to remain high throughout the end of the week. Authorities say the key to eliminating the area's serious air pollution problem lies in adjusting the region's industrial structure and in optimizing its energy structure. It also includes strict enforcement of environmental regulations and temporary production bans.
An Israeli soldier who shot dead a wounded Palestinian assailant has been convicted of manslaughter in one of the most divisive trials in Israel's judicial history. A 3-judge military court rejected 20-year-old Elor Azaria's argument that he acted in self-defense. The sentence will be handed down at a later date, but a charge of manslaughter carries a maximum penalty of 20 years imprisonment. Supporters of Azaria gathered outside the military headquarters in Tel Aviv as the verdict was read out.
The latest is that the police has registered a case against unknown perpetrators of the crime. They're analyzing the CCTV footage of the 45 cameras that were put in place on that night. They're identifying the footage and trying to see who these men were. They are trying to identify the men who sexually harassed women on the streets on the New Year's Eve. Police is also awaiting a complainant to come forward because so far, even though women are talking to the media, they are giving interviews to TV and print media, but they're not coming forward as complainants, and that has to do with, of course, the social stigma that exists in the society. Nonetheless, these women are not ready to become complainants in the case, and police is actually hoping that some of them become complainants so that there is support and they identify these men. So investigations are now on, and interestingly, it was not on unless pressure was put in after these photographs which actually came out in a local newspaper in Bangalore, where the photographer published these pictures where women were seeking help from police women on that night because they were being molested, they were being groped, and so they needed help. And those pictures were published where it was said that these police people did not really help these women. At the same time, there is some footage which has come forward which shows that a woman who was walking alone in a street like this in Bangalore, which is like a residential street, she was also harassed and groped in that street. So it's not just that this kind of harassment is happening, sexual harassment is happening, was happening on the New Year's Eve, but it was also happening on streets which were deserted, which were not in that crowded area. So investigations are on. Let's see in the next few days how this case unfolds. That is still awaited, and there is a controversy around the case.
We don't know what happened before or after we see this video, but let's watch it one more time. So so there it is. And again, you'll hear her account in just a moment. Officer Ruben de los Santos, he's the officer involved in this. He's on paid administrative leave. He's been with the school as a resource officer for almost 4 years, was wearing a body camera, so we do not know if it was recording or not, or if and when that video will be released. So that's that front. I mentioned the young girl, 15 years old. What is her account of what happened? Here she is.
I was just sitting down on the other side of the cafeteria, and then I see a big altercation. Then I run so fast, and then I see my sister fighting, and then I see them both on the ground, and I'm trying to get my sister, and then people are like pulling me off, and I'm like, you guys need to get off of me because I'm trying to help my sister. And then that's when Officer Santos came, and he picked me up and then slammed me on the ground, and I was out for a bit. And then that's when I got up, he got up, and then we went to his office.
All right, so there you hear it again, and you see here it's Rollsville High School. That's just northeast of Raleigh. The school's looking into it. Here is their statement saying, and this is from the principal of the high school, I, like many of you, am deeply concerned about what I saw in the video. The safety of our students is always our first priority. So that is from the principal. Rollsville Police Department looking into this as well. Here is their statement saying, we will work diligently to review any and all pertinent information so that we provide an accurate account of the events. And this police department is asking the North Carolina State Bureau of Investigation to conduct a third-party review as well, Robin. So a lot of entities looking into this.
You got twins and the 5-year-old, you know chaos. Nanny cam in the room. Who saw this first? Who knew what was going on?
Mom saw it first.
You saw it on the video?
Yep, I saw it.
Like a live feed? Like, how did you know that this happened?
So it was live on my phone, and I just saw the dresser had fallen down and no kids to be seen. So I jump out of bed, run downstairs, fling open the door, and
heard nothing.
Heard nothing.
What time was this about?
What would you say?
8:30.
8:20, 8:30.
So these guys get out of their cribs by themselves.
They're just in toddler beds, so they can get out and, you know, play for a little bit, and then we go get them. But so I fling open the door, and they're just quietly playing in their room in the corner. No injuries.
Brock wasn't
or
even
anything.
crying anymore.
No, not crying at all.
So when did you figure out what had actually happened?
We went back and looked at the video because it records all movement.
So I pulled it up and watched it, and we already knew they were okay. And I was just like, my heart dropped, as you can imagine. And I'm like, how did this happen? And then I'm watching the whole thing unfold for like a minute and a half that he's under it. And I'm like, and then Bodie does what he did.
Yeah.
And I was just like,
how do you explain, unless Bodie's bionic, what he did?
He's pretty tough.
He's a strong kid, but we think there was a little bit of extra help in there.
Definitely.
Hey, Bodie.
You get nothing out of him. Bodie. He's looking at himself because he's so handsome.
He is.
I had that problem. Took me years to get over it.
Little kiss. Little kiss, bud.
He likes that licorice, though. You guys are smart. I learned that lesson early on, too. For us, it was Fig Newtons. I could get the kids to do anything.
Yeah.
So you run into the room, you realize they're okay, but could you believe that they were okay after that? God forbid if that drawer hadn't been open that way, right? Because it looked like Brock kind of got protected by that extra space.
Yeah. No, we couldn't believe it. We thought he would have had to have been hurt somehow.
We searched him, and he's like fine.
He's
like
good.
not even a scratch.
Yeah.
And then who put the video out?
It took a couple days. We were really hesitant because it's hard to watch, as you can all see. But we
Why'd you put it out? What'd you think?
Just
yeah,
ultimately
awareness.
it was like yeah, I mean, something really personal, but there's probably a lot of other parents. In fact, a lot of people have messaged us since, like, hey, we've now got our dressers bolted down, like, and that was the first thing we did. Obviously, the second this happened, like, I got all my tools out and did it, put it up on the walls.
Look, I'm the mother of twins. I have twin girls who were not quite as rambunctious as your climbers, but they still did obviously move around the room and everything. I never bolted my dresser. I bolted a big bookshelf that seemed more precarious.
Yeah.
You've never bolted anything anywhere.
That's a good
in
point.
your life.
I actually have never lifted a hammer, but I mean, my people bolted a big bookshelf that was precarious, but I didn't know to bolt down a dresser until I saw your video.
Right. Good.
I did. I give you no break on that. We all know that hardware comes with a lot of these pieces of furniture. We've all assembled them. But you never think that this is going to happen to you. What was the response? Did you have people coming at you saying, you got lucky, you know, bad on you, bad on you?
Of course, you're always going to get that. But honestly, we've just had
I'm not afraid of you. What do you have in your mouth? Let me have half. What is it? No, I'm kidding. Oh, you share too.
Really would share. So nice. You're so nice.
This kid's the best kid in the world.
I know, right?
Are you kidding me? My kid would take my whole hand off.
We can say, we have said repeatedly over the last 2 months that our source is not the Russian government and it is not a state party.
That's Julian Assange, WikiLeaks founder, denying again that he received leaked DNC emails from the Russian government. This morning, President-elect Trump is tweeting about it, saying, Julian Assange said a 14-year-old could have hacked Podesta. Why was DNC so careless? He also said the Russian government is dismissing any involvement in the election hacks. I can tell by your face you don't like hearing what's coming out of Julian Assange's face. Why?
Well, look, the question we face here wasn't asked last night, and I can't figure out why it wasn't. The question is pretty straightforward. It's not who gave you the information. It's, are you aware of any Russian involvement in the hack, including private parties who might have been paid by the Russian security service? I thought the interview was ridiculous because they skirted the bottom line. Do you know if the Russians were involved? Again, not where did you get the information. Ridiculous interview.
You can't see it, but there are toll stations and highways behind all this fog. More than 10,000 cars got stuck in China's eastern city of Huainan, some for as many as 10 hours. Traffic police say they're doing everything they can.
We're using loudspeakers to shout out cautions to those on the road. We're toning up the sirens so those who can't see will hear. All those working at highway entrances are on high alert.
It's the same way for air traffic. Shijiazhuang, often the country's #1 most polluted city, is also shrouded in heavy fog. Local airport canceled all of its flights Wednesday morning. Meanwhile, the airport in central China's Zhengzhou city ran out of seats for those who were stranded and doled out this. At times, visibility there is just 10 meters. Many will stay grounded, and people dare not venture out without a mask.
This weather does have a huge impact on me. My baby stays at home and is not allowed to go out these days. The elderly and children can't go outside, and I usually put on a mask when I go to work. I don't want to go outside in such weather. It ruins my mood.
Authorities say the weather may get better starting tomorrow. People living in the area will just have to wait and see.